Right. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. We're going live. The topic of this video is the bad boy or rude boy jerk personality archetype, alpha male. Are they alpha male? But first, before we get started, I'd like to give a disclaimer. This video is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation is different. This video is not to be construed as legal advice or relationship dating advice, etc. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource is not liable or responsible for any misuse of this information. These are simply my views and opinions on the topic. With that being said, all rights are reserved. Thank you, Elite 36, for joining. Jumping right into the chat ASAP. Appreciate you. This topic is going to be different from normal topics I normally do lately. Just to let you guys know, I've been on some different YouTube channels that deal with dating relationships, and I just wanted to give my feedback. I used to have another channel some years back, actually, and I took a screen capture of it, a particular video I did. It had no dislikes. It had quite a bit of views. It was approaching up there towards 1,000 or whatever at the time. And I just wanted to go over some notes to jump right into the subject real quick, because I was on some different YouTube channels that have been discussing about dating relationships between the Pookie and Ray Ray archetypes. They're like the bad boys, jerks, the rude guys, versus the they call the nice guys, the educated lames, the beta males. I think these are personality archetypes. So I wanted to give my weigh in. I got some notes with me, kind of going off the top of the head. But first of all, I was going to go into the question is: are these are the jerks, the Pookie and Ray Ray archetypes, the thugs, are they alpha males? Are they genuine alpha males? This is the question. I'm going to address this. In my opinion, in many cases, no, they are not genuine alpha males, even though at times it may appear on the surface to exert authority or dominance. And I'm going to go into the reasons. I don't want this video to be that long. I want to keep it shorter. I could go more in depth. But one of the things they display is called bravado, which is a pseudo form of confidence. Bravado is not genuine confidence. Actually, I was on a call yesterday, Wednesday, because we're jumping into Thursday now. And I was explaining to a sister the topic of the video was baby mamas, and it was dealing with, like, in the black community, there's a lot of children born out of wedlock. So there's been a discussion lately where a lot of beta males, or so-called educated lames, they call them, go on these channels and have these debates and these discussions with what's that Google Hangout that they use. And different big name YouTubers, you have like they have big followers between the ladies and the guys between their particular genre. So some of them have intersected where they're discussing this topic, and I just wanted to give my weigh in on this. So once again, the bad boys, rude boys, sometimes display a bravado type of character that's not genuine, solid confidence. Now, I said the nice guys and the bad boys are not all built equal either. They each have strength, pros and cons, strength and weaknesses. But I think in the black community, a lot of the women have a tendency, it's been said by a lot of the nice guys, the so-called beta males, the educated lames, they have a tendency to pick or choose these type of guys. And the question that's being brought up is, when they mate with these type of guys, the type of children that they produce have a tendency, not in all cases, but to grow up dysfunctional or destructive, or to be prone to criminal activities. Some have said to be breaking into people's cars by the time they reach 12 or 14 years old. That's kind of a stereotype, but you see a typical pattern. And this typical pattern, because the black community, there's those that have their head on straight, that are trying to turn things around, that are trying to be positive, but they're saying that the problem that they're having is that one of the issues that these brothers are bringing up is that a lot of the sisters are attracted to this archetype. And even the nice guys, I will admit, have the educated lames. Some of them look up to these types of guys too, on a flip side too. So I'm just giving my way in here. But another thing is that when these types of guys, the bad boy, rude boy, jerk types, These are personality archetypes, sort of like generalizations. Once again, they're not all built equally, but when they get belligerent, they have a tendency to lose their temper because they don't know how to exert authority. And I was gonna show for the first time ever. I'm going over some powerful information. Behind the scenes, I've counseled a few of my homies that I know personally. One of my friends from years ago, he was a player. He eventually got married. I'm not going to say his name or whatever, but I had a book years ago. It was an ebook. This is a true story, not making this up. He was down in Florida. He moved back to Michigan. And, you know, like, once again, not saying his name, keeping him private, but this is a true story. And I told him about this book, and he admitted to me that it actually increased his player ratio. Like, he was able to get with more women. He started understanding things better. He also studied the Christian aspect because he did the church thing as well, because they have a separate like dating psychology for the Christian church. And for the first time ever, I'm going to show a book that I study. I just bought some time ago. I haven't really finished reading it yet, but I have a lot of books on dating psychology, and I just believe in keeping it real. My older cousin down south told me some years ago that if women come over to my place, that if they see the books, that they're going to think I'm using the books on them. But I said, you know, why should I hide it? You know, some of my girlfriends in the past, I told them they knew I was actually studying the books. Like, one of my girlfriends, when she found out, she went through the books that I had at the time and was trying to flip through, and we kind of playing the game. I was pulling them away from her because I didn't want her to see at the time. One in particular, it was by Carlos Zuma, dealing with the alpha male. The same book and some other books he had, and finishing telling the story that I sent to my friend that moved down to Florida, had actually admitted to me that he increased his player ratio. I guess it helped him out. And he already was good with women. I mean, there's different things I can go into. That's for a separate video, things that ladies are attracted to and guys. And I studied dating psychology independently years ago before I got in this redemption stuff. So I want to let you know I'm not one-dimensional. I've studied other subjects. But the book I'm going to show right now, I'm getting ready to display, it's in my hand, is that I share some of these secrets with a friend of mine that's married, and he admitted to me in the past, and someone else maybe as well, I can't think of, but I do know one offhand that it helped them out understand that women test men. It's Elite 36 said you have to read those books because it helps to understand how people are. Yes, they help out, but experience as well, because a lot of I actually stayed with the player / Mac. I wouldn't just put them in a player category, because there was a movie that came out years ago called How to Be a Player. Some of you guys are familiar with Bill Bellamy, who used to be on MTV. He used to host rap videos, and he was in some movies and different things. And How to Be a Player was one of them. He was like the featured actor. And Max Julian had a role in the movie from years ago, the Mac, whatever. That's a whole nother era. But things have changed. Times have changed now, how people date and things were online. It's a whole different ball game. But some of the principles still apply. Like my mentor sensei that trained me in martial arts used to tell me, the principles stay the same. The formulas may change, but principles stay the same. So just because a lot of these books were geared for white women or whatever, they still worked on black women as well. Key Mars in the chat says, hey Dorsey, greetings to you, Key Mars, welcome, thank you for joining, by the way. So this is a video I don't normally talk about, but I've been meaning to talk about for a while. I said, why not? I have another YouTube channel that I don't have anyone subscribed to yet. It's called Mr. Cerebellum. So if you guys want to go there, I was going to gear that channel towards talking about some of this stuff, but I said, why not, you know, just do a video here? Because I said, you know, it's fine just having one channel, you know, I can do it that way. But if you guys want to see more videos like this topic or others, you can go over to Mr. Cerebellum, subscribe to that channel. It's linked to Dorsey's resource. Just keep that in mind. But this book is called What Women Want When They Test Men. This is a major secret I'm sharing. It's called also How to Decode Female Behavior, Pass a Woman's Test, and Attract Women Through Authenticity, or authenticity. So this is called What Women Want When They Test Men, and How to Decode Female Behavior, Pass a Woman's Test, and Attract Women Through Authenticity by Bruce Bryans. I bought this off of Amazon, just doing research. He wrote some other books I bought as well, but I'm actually using those right now to prop the phone up that I have. Actually, believe it or not, I'm not using one of those holsters. I figured out a way how to shoot my videos. Just something I thought of off the top of the head, straight brilliant. But I wanted to show this book. I told a friend of mine about this, and he told me he started to see the difference in his marriage, that, you know, certain things, the personality, there's an archetype that we all have between men and women. There's a switch when you get to study these things, and psychologists know this. People, women, people who've gone to school for psychologists, because this touches into psychology, believe it or not.
9-5 all units, radio check.
Okay, I'll be back, guys, for a second. You know, I'm at the plantation. Okay, I'm back real quick, but this book, going over once again, it's a game changer right here. Believe it or not, this is like a black book, a secret. A lot of guys, this will help out, because it was brought up one of the videos I chimed in on. I was watching where several people were in a Google Hangout having a discussion about they call the beta males, the nice guys, the educated lames, saying one of the sisters was suggesting, and specifically for the black community, why don't black dating coaches out there give these men advice? You know, because this also equivalates to how assertive you are in life, the other things that you do. This is not just about teaching men how to be players or how to have sex. This is also, these books also help men to become better men, better people, by the way. And there's a lot of guys that don't read a lot of books. Like, more women generally typically read books than guys do. That's why the whole marketing, you know, magazine, entertainment industry is geared towards the marketing, promotions and stuff. Commercials are geared towards women, by the way. But there are guys out there, and what made Nipsey Hussle, believe it or not, unique, he didn't not only had a street personality, he had the balance of both worlds. He not only had street smarts, but he also had book smarts. If you listen to Laura London, just using this as an example, I watched his funeral, and she said that he liked to read books, and he listened to like audios. And I said, I thought about myself. I did the same thing years ago. Even one of my former girlfriends years ago knew that I listened. I told her, and she actually would want me, sometimes we would get off the phone, she would want me to listen to the audios, because she felt it would help out, you know, with me studying, understanding the game. Because I felt like the concept was, because I grew up in the church, my parents were very overprotective of me. I was sheltered. So I really didn't have the same type of opportunity that some of my friends in the neighborhood had growing up, where they got experience at a younger age, because I wasn't allowed to do certain things. My parents, by me being raised Christian, were very strict. So some of my friends told me they would practice getting on girls, going to the malls and stuff. So that's why when as they got older, they were naturally more confident, more congruent. But to stay on the same topic about the bad boys, jerks, are they true alpha males? I went over, they have a tendency to get belligerent. And when they get belligerent or lose their temper, this now turns into beta male behavior. Even certain women can see you lose authority. But this book right here, which I'm still studying, I'm by no means am I expert, but it's cold-blooded, teaches you to have balance, how to stay grounded, to not lose your temper when you get to that breaking point. Sometimes, you know, it's okay, a guy can let it out, get into a argument. But also, if you're not in control of yourself, you can get baited in and you can kind of really lose yourself. But this book will teach men how to be grounded without being belligerent. That's the difference between a true alpha male, a man that's grounded with authenticity. It's referred to as in the pickup community as inner game, by the way. That's what they considered. I studied David D'Angelo, Carlos Zuma, is very awesome. Ryan Williams, what I like about Ryan Williams' style, he was a dating coach. He's like international player, but he teaches men inner game in terms of developing, harnessing your natural masculinity, because women are attracted to masculinity. If you boil down to the main archetypes and characteristics, the things that invokes the feminine side of them, and men being in the proper role. It's not about men being in charge or anything. Like, this is not chauvinistic, or how do they say, misogynistic. This is not sexist. It's about teaching men to become grounded. And that's the difference between the rude boy archetypes, what they call toxic masculinity, or refer to that, are more belligerent, where they don't know how to control their behavior. They might display a pseudo form of confidence, or alpha male, by the hood demeanor, by the way they talk, or sagging the pants or whatever, being hood, ghetto type of mentality. But that doesn't always mean that they have solid, genuine confidence, or that they're genuine alpha male. There's a difference. And I found out there's another aspect between the alpha male and beta male. You have another one. You guys can look up, there's videos on YouTube about this. A friend of mine had a theory. He sent this to me, said I may be a sigma male. I think I am a combination of that as well. And sigma male is like in the middle, believe it or not. But some sigma males can outperform certain alpha males because they're more balanced in the archetype. Now, these archetypes I'm going to go over too are more prone to be physically or verbally abusive in relationships. Like I said, these men, they have trouble. They can't control themselves more. The Pookie and Ray Ray types, the thug, jerks, rude boys, bad boys. So when they get a woman pregnant, they're more likely to leave her raising the child by herself. These type of men are also more likely to cheat on their girlfriend or spouse. Oftentimes, because of an insecurity they have within themselves, they oftentimes attempt to hide it. So they'll accuse her of cheating, when in actuality they may be, creeping out, or they have a girlfriend or somebody on the side that they're seeing. This tactic can be used vice versa too. There's female players as well. So everything that I'm saying also applies to ladies, but I'm just going over some of the archetypes of the so-called Pookie and Ray Rays out there that fall in alignment with the bad boys, jerks, the rude boys, the thug type of behavior. So I went over, they're more prone, when they get a woman knocked up pregnant, they're more prone to leave her raising the child by themselves. In many, not all cases, but in many cases, they don't stick around. These types of men are more likely to cheat, I went over. They do this because they're trying to hide the insecurities they have in themselves. That's one of the things. These types of brothers are also more likely to get into trouble with law enforcement and go to jail, which in turn affects the relationship, because if they leave the woman with the child, says Lady T in the chat says, okay, I had to go back real quick, forgive me. I see Elite 36 said earlier, same here. Thank you, Elite 36, for confirming. Lady T says, I appreciate you. It's good to see you on any topic. Thank you. Appreciate you, Lady T. Thank you for the shout out. Much love, by the way. So these, to finish going over before I wrap this video up, these types of brothers, like I said, they're more likely to get in trouble with the law. They're more likely to go to jail, which in turn can affect the relationship, because I've heard, like, there was one sister that I used to talk to years ago where she told me her boyfriend was in jail at the time. And I think she didn't have any children, but in many cases, women have children. And that's another reason why when these guys are locked up, they can't help, raise the family. And it's harder on her, when he went to jail or he's in this situation or whatever. It makes it much more difficult. Say if she does meet, says Christy Isaac says, I agree with her 100%. Let me read that again. I didn't see that. Christy Isaac says, I agree with her 100%. Thank you, Christy Isaac, for your comment. Thank you for joining in the chat. So once again, when these types of guys go to jail, this can be an uncomfortable topic for some. These are like generalizations, but there are statistics, there's studies that you can look up that are done on this, by the way. And I think between the discussion between the rude boys, the Pookie and Ray Ray types versus the educated lames or nice guys, there's more weaknesses with in my opinion, with the rude boy, Pookie and Ray Ray types versus the educated lames or the nice guys. Now they have their flaws too, by the way. I have to do a separate video. Some of them are obvious, and I will admit, we have to work on our confidence sometimes continually. There's different levels of it when you approach a woman or decide. The nice guys have to work on their personality. If there's other things they can improve on, they're very important, like appearance, A lot of things can be a factor, because the reason they're called lame is because, like, sense of humor, that's another thing that's part of your personality. You know, they say if you can make a woman laugh, you know, a lot of women love to laugh, but not all women love the same thing or built the same way. So you have to, you know, sometimes work on your personality to determine that, and you can attract certain archetypes. It doesn't mean you will attract everybody. You know, these are some of the things that the nice guys, the flaws they have. So I'm showing balance, but mainly going over the topic of this video basically is the bad boy, jerk, rude guy archetypes, personality archetypes. Are they alpha male? And I'm just going over the reasons and some of the flaws that it causes. So let's say they're more prone to go to jail, as I mentioned, and the woman is stuck. She's raising a child on her own, and let's say she decides to talk to a guy that doesn't have any kids, that has no children. By the way, the thing is too, like myself, I still don't have any children. I've been in enough relationships in the past to give dating advice and speaking from experience. Not saying I know everything. Like I said, this book right here is a game changer. I'm still studying this. I haven't read it. I've skimmed through it, maybe taken some highlights as well as some other books that I order. And he has other books on Amazon, by the way. These are some heavy secrets that I'm sharing for the fellas out there, the ladies. Some of you all are aware of these books and things too. There's a lot of information, not just Amazon, but eBay, YouTube. There's audios, videos, so many dating coaches I already named, by the way, that I've actually studied too. But to stay on topic, that when the guys don't have children, a lot of ladies don't know that men are psychologically hardwired, that if a woman has a child already, that if things get serious, we want to start off, we prefer to start off fresh. That's why it's hard, why a lot of men that don't have kids look at sometimes women who do have kids just to have sex with them, to hit it and quit it and move on, because in the back of their mind, there's also a risk factor that comes into play, because if the baby mama, if she's still messing with the guy, the baby daddy behind the scenes or whatever, if the relationship is not exclusive, then this can create a love triangle, which could be dangerous, because if he's a jealous type and he doesn't like the nice guy or the educated lame, and they get into it or whatever, you know how things, love triangles turn out. There's a lot of domestic cases that police, law enforcement have to deal with, you heard about, and it can be ugly. So this puts men, the nice guys, at risk when if they do decide to take on these women or help them out. If there's an exchange in a relationship, if she feels like that he's not really helping out as much, and she wants friends with benefits, because she feels like he's not the guy she was originally with, the baby daddy that has the Pookie Ray Ray archetype, or the thug, or if he's on the lower end, the buster or bum, as some females call these types of guys, because they don't help out. Like I said, they are more prone to knock them up but leave them with the child. Then, and if he's the jealous type, if she's still giving him sex or coochie on the side, then that can create a love triangle situation. If that nice guy comes in and tries to help assist or whatever, if he feels like, when I hear some sisters say, you know, they still want to be in a relationship, but they want a man to come in, but once they have a child and they're not married or whatever, it makes it more difficult for them to settle down and get married. And this is one of the problems you have in the black community. That's a systemic cycle. It's not just solely the black community, but it's a lot of babies that are being pumped out. And what I illustrated when I was on this call yesterday, I called in, by the way, I said it's not enough men to actually assist, because we make up a lower percentage of the population, and specifically within the black community, based on the men that are locked up in jail, that are gay, out on the streets, that or bum, that don't really have anything going, or even with their head on straight. It's a logistics numbers issue, and also based on demographics and what areas you live at. It's just simply not enough men to make up for the mistakes when women have a lot of these babies or children out of wedlock. Just no pun intended, just speaking real right here. So I went over that. If the baby mama or woman has a child already, she still messes around with the baby daddy as well as the boyfriend. This can put men in some love triangles and can be dangerous. And also, if she's messing with a lot of guys, then diseases can factor in. Because one guy I used to work with, you know, getting personal now, but just keeping it real, he was going over, when was the last time you had some XYZ? He was asking me So he got personal, and I was straight up with him. I said, you know, because I was sheltered the way I grew up in an overprotective household, this is why I studied these dating books and dating psychology, because I wanted to know. But when I brought up these risk factors that's involved, that men also, they're not, the educated lames aren't necessarily stupid. It's not that some of us don't want to be in relationships. We're more cautious because there are hazards that can happen, like child support just in regular relationships. There's if we get married, you know, over 50-60% of marriages end in divorce. A man can get stuck with alimony and child support. By the way, business, if he owns businesses, can be broken up, houses, properties, and things based on the marriage. Just keeping it real. You know, this is a lot of the part that I notice isn't really talked about when I watch these videos by the women that brought in some of their these fellas on the panel to combat the guys who were the opposite views. Like they brought on the hood guys, the jerks or whatever, to try to counteract, to, you know, correlate. But to be honest, I'm giving a real honest critique here. I'm in Detroit and I'm from Cleveland. I've seen the same thing, and this is common in a lot of cities like New York, Chicago, Atlanta, different parts of the country or whatever. So Lady T just had a comment in the chat. Let me go back to it. Said, what's the name of the book one more time? I need to see it, please, and thank you. That's funny, Lady T. This is called What Women Want. And what it says, what women want when they test men. Excuse me. That's the top part of the title. It says how to decode female behavior and pass a woman's test and attract women through authenticity by Bruce Bryans. And this is an excellent book. I confirm. I knew about these tests years ago because, like I say, to reiterate, I studied Carlos Zuma's work. I studied David D'Angelo, David Wygant. He's phenomenal, very dynamic in his presentation. He gives boot camps in California. They're expensive, though. Never gone to any, but I had some of his audios from years ago. I actually purchased some material from his website. He mostly stuck with audios, but he's on YouTube as well. A lot of these coaches I'm mentioning, you can find them on YouTube. Also Ryan Williams. What I like about Ryan Williams, he teaches it's not so much always about game, but about men being their true selves, being grounded in natural masculinity. I found that to work very well. He was one of the last coaches that I got into, and it was very natural to develop inner game, authenticity. And these topics can really branch out and extend. So before I shut things down, I wanted to go over once again the topic of this video is bad boys, rude boys, jerks, personality archetypes, alpha males. I hope I've clarified and given some insight into the reason why. If you guys want to see other types of videos like this, let me know if there's a particular topic you want me to cover with the dating psychology. I'll try my level best if I am knowledgeable about it. Before I shut things down, don't forget to hit the like button. You can subscribe to me at Dorsey's Resource on Facebook, YouTube, at Dorsey's Resource on Twitter. I'm also on minds.com and gab.ai. You can also follow me at Dorsey's Resource _2019 on Instagram. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for joining me.